Hello, this is Rick Marshall with today's devotional thought for Camellia Baptist Church. The thought this week has been from the Psalms, and I'm focusing today on Psalms 46. You may be very familiar with it, under the title, God Secures. Listen to the first three verses of this wonderful psalm. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in a time of trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth should change, and though the mountains slip into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar with foam, and though the mountains quake at the swelling pride. Well, we're in a difficult and dark day, aren't we? And sometimes we need to be sure that God is bigger than the issues we're facing in life today. In fact, I'd ask you the question, tell me your view of God. Is it primarily that He will protect you from trouble, or is it that He will be there with you in the midst of trouble if and when it comes? The psalmist seems to focus on the latter. He's there in a disaster, the psalmist said, not against the worst that could happen to us, but in spite of it. Notice again the second verse, though the earth be moved. That's a pretty big deal, isn't it? That encompasses a lot of problems that could happen. Now, bad things do happen to good people. Yes, because we live in a physical world, and sometimes we suffer with bad things done by bad people. For example, drunk drivers have often killed very innocent people. But unfortunately, sometimes pain comes to the best of people. I'm talking about good Christians, faithful to the Lord, faithful to the church. I recall more than once having funeral for those kind of couples whose child had died strangely, or people that have suffered with vision loss or other diseases that have come in their life and very unexplainable reasons why it happened. Except, unfortunately, we have to come to the conclusion that God allows things to happen, but it's beyond our understanding. We have to learn to trust the sovereignty of God. Paul had a great conviction about that in Romans 8, didn't he? He said, nothing can separate us from the love of God. Maybe the key to the whole thing is in verse 10, where it simply says, be still and know that I am God. We have to come to understand that He's God and we're not. For those without faith, it looks like He gets further away from us. But for those who believe through the eyes of faith, sometimes we never felt closer to God than in the midst of trouble. We look at the cross. It looked like failure and defeat. But out of it, God brought victory. This we know, God's alive and active, and He's sovereign. Hear the last verse of this wonderful psalm. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Let Him be your refuge today, is my prayer.